Hello, I'm the guest lecturer for quality engineering class that is taught by Professor Shina. So today I want to discuss with you about quality engineering in the medical device industry, quality engineering in the medical device industry for um, this week 11. So my name is Osei Serebour. I am a certified quality engineer and certified biomedical auditor, and also um, certified BSI lead auditor and Six Sigma black belt. I've been in the industry for, I would say, close to 10 years within medical device industry. And then right now I'm working as a consultant for a company in Boston that does more design and that breakthrough projects. So overview, we'll discuss about what quality is, generally what quality is. I believe within the previous classes you've understood from the lectures what quality is, but I'll go over what quality is and then also discuss some different quality engineering areas in medical devices, which is design quality engineering, manufacturing or production quality engineering, supply quality engineering, and also compliance quality engineering. And after that, I'll introduce some quality engineering standards in the medical device. The two most, the QMS, which is the quality management system, and I'll discuss also ISO 9000 and ISO 13485, and discuss about also 21 CFR 820, which is the Code of Federal Regulations, Quality Management System, Good Manufacturing Practices. That's 21 CFR 820. I'll discuss that one. And I'll talk generally about other standards, which is can be risk management. It can also be software, hardware, REACH, RoHS, service support. There are other standards that depend on the project that you are working on, you will have to adhere to within the industry. And then lastly, I'll discuss about medical development processes for medical projects. And under that, I'll talk about different regulatory standards that are within the world. So what is quality? From the American Society for Quality, which is ASQ, ASQ defines quality as the totality of features in characteristics of a product or service that bear its ability to satisfy given need. So I underline totality of features and characteristics of a product or service that bear on its ability to satisfy needs. So we want to, as it were, understand that quality takes into consideration the totality of all features of the product and its ability to satisfy given need. So every product that you pick, the quality of the product is, first of all, its ability to do what the product is supposed to do. And even though it's doing what it's supposed to do, it's supposed to also satisfy the given need. That is from American Society of Quality. And quality in simple terms will be doing the right things right, doing the right things right. And if you look at the ISO 9001, which I'll be going much deeper into in the next slides, support it with say what you do and then do what you say. say what you do, and then do what you say. So that is generally about quality, the definition for quality. Within quality, depending on the industry or the company that you get yourself into, we have quality broken down into three, which is quality control, quality assurance, and then also quality system or quality engineering. These three roles can be played by one person or different people, depending on how the organizational structure is. So there are some companies which will have all these three. They have a different place for quality control, quality assurance, and then also quality system or quality engineering. So talking of quality control, that's test and inspect components and finished products versus approved specification. So we'll build products to the approved specification, and after that we test them. It can be a component, a sub-assembly, or a finished product. All those ones are being tested or inspected by quality control. So it can be at the incoming, that is where we receive materials into the organization or into the manufacturing, or it can be on the manufacturing floor where we'll do in-process inspection, or it will be at the end where the product is being completed and we test and also we inspect that finished product per the approved specification. Quality assurance. Quality assurance is manufacture quality into products. Quality assurance is where we manufacture quality into products. And quality assurance comes in play within manufacturing phase, where every step there are in-process inspections, and if there are non-conformities, there are root cause analysis that are being done with the non-conformities, and we'll find out what are the root causes are, and they will move it on to do corrective action. After the corrective action has been completed, we bring it back to the manufacturing floor. Quality assurance, make sure that everything that is being produced on the manufacturing floor is meeting the standard. So quality assurance mostly is on the manufacturing floor. And then also quality system and quality engineering. This aspect is from design through to manufacturing, through to finishing and commercialization of the product. So quality system engineering takes care of design, manufacturing, quality, manufacturing quality, and all quality engineering steps for a product to be commercialized or for a product to, as it were, be sold out to the public. That is quality systems or quality engineering. So how does a company become a quality registered company? One thing we have to understand is that the company implements procedures to meet industry standards, which is the company has to implement either ISO 9001 or ISO 13485 or ISO 14971, which is the risk analysis. You have to implement these procedures, implement your procedures to meet these standards. And your company asks to be assessed by an accredited regulatory body. So examples of accredited regulatory bodies are, I'll say BSI, I'll say ASQ, I'll say there are other companies, for example, TUV Sud, they are also accredited regulatory body. And there are other ones which also are accredited regulatory bodies. So these regulatory bodies, they will visit the company and audit the company's compliance to either ISO 9001 to ISO 13485, depending on which one you want to be certified to. And as I'm speaking on quality engineering in the medical device, I would want to narrow it down towards medical device industry. So medical device industries, make sure that they are ISO 9001 or ISO 13485. ISO 13485 specifically is quality management system regulations for medical devices. So After the accredited body has audited the company's compliance, the company shows them records, including company internal audits, documented procedures, and records. And after that, they will issue certificates to the company or the organization that you are now ISO 13485 certified. And then that is where the company becomes a registered company. That is where it becomes a registered company. So, and after it becomes a registered company, the accredited regulatory body visits periodically. It can be several times in a year or once a year, depending on your registration or your certification that you are being given. And then also one other thing we have to understand is that if the accredited body also finds non-conformities within their audits, they will issue a finding to the company, and the company has to rectify these non-conformities. If the company doesn't rectify these non-conformities, the companies, most often than not, the registration is being pulled out, and then the registration is being canceled, and the company will no more be a quality registered company, either to ISO 9000 or to ISO 13485. So some different quality engineering areas in medical devices. So I want to discuss about these four quality engineering areas in medical device. We have design quality, we have manufacturing quality or production quality engineering, we have supplier quality, and we have also compliance quality. Depending on the organization, you might have all these three roles, departments separately, or sometimes some of them can be sandwiched together depending on the organizational structure. So design quality, generally, the design quality engineer provides independence, oversight of the design planning process, design verification, design validation activities, design transfer, and production of products, and the performance in the field to ensure that all design requirements are effectively met. So that is design quality engineering. There are a lot of responsibilities for the design quality engineering depending on the organization, but these are very few ones which I put over here that we're supposed to take away and understand the role of design quality engineer. So the role of design quality engineer will be different from the role of manufacturing quality engineer, and also the role of supply quality engineer, and also the role of compliance quality engineer. But there are some roles which are intertwined because they are all quality engineers. So the design quality engineer, I would say, takes care of design controls about from the conceptualization all the way through to finishing of the project or the product. So it will take into account the design planning, design input and output, review, design reviews are done periodically, verification, validation, design transfer, and then also design history files are being kept for this product that is being worked on, as in from conceptualization all the way through to commercialization. Design quality engineer also ensures that proper quality plans are made that includes all stage of life cycle of the product and support quality plan designs. They also provide oversight of the execution of quality plan risk management activities and all of design related activities. So design quality engineer is mostly on the design phase where critical to quality dimensions, where specifications are being changed into engineering. Let me retract again, where customer requirements are being transferred into engineering specifications, where customer requirements are being transferred into engineering specifications, we'll find the quality engineer, who is the design quality in these roles. So design quality can be within hardware or software to make sure that it meets quality and compliance standard for every milestone. And also design quality engineers execute risk management activities. Manufacturing quality or production quality engineering, sometimes these names are being interchanged. So manufacturing can be production because they are all working on the production floor, the manufacturing floor. So generally, manufacturing quality engineer role is to monitor, test, and report on the quality of the product within the manufacturing phase. So during manufacturing, where there are sub-assemblies being built, in-process inspection are being taken in place, all these are being monitored by the manufacturing quality engineer or the production quality engineer. Depending on the position, they might also inspect raw materials, components, mechanical system, or final product. So they can also be at the incoming to make sure that materials that are coming in, components that are coming into the manufacturing floor are meeting specifications. So their responsibilities are not limited to whatever I have over here. They prepare reports on malfunction and corrective actions. They identify root cause of technical issues and recommend how to fix it. So they do root cause analysis. Manufacturing quality engineers do root cause analysis. Design quality engineers also do root cause analysis. So there are some responsibilities, as I said, that run through all these quality engineering roles. They monitor the entire production cycle, that is on the manufacturing floor, and perform regular tests to identify potential malfunction as early as possible. Because you want to make sure that the product which you are making, if there's a defect, you want to identify the defect, I would say, with early stage of manufacturing. You don't want to identify these defects or these issues within the final phase of manufacturing. If that's said, you have to go back and then start all production again, and that will lead to that'll be a waste of time. At the same time, it will lead to overproduction. And overproduction within Lean, it is a waste within Lean Six Sigma. So from manufacturing quality perspective, they monitor the entire production life cycle. That is what manufacturing quality engineers also, some of them that they do. And also work on internal teams. They work with R&D, work with regulatory affairs, work with supply chain to increase customer satisfaction by improving the quality of the products that are being shipped to customers. The next one is supplier quality engineers. Supplier quality engineers. Supplier quality engineering. I've been a supplier quality engineer before. I've worked as a supplier quality engineer before. We secure supplier parts for assembly line, review engineering and manufacturing specifications, monitor materials for any defect, resolving supplier quality issues. So pretty much supplier quality, most often than not, qualify suppliers to get them on the approved supplier list. So for qualification of supplier, there are so many processes that you go through in terms of qualifying suppliers, depending on the company that you are working for. And you review specifications that you've given to suppliers. We make design specifications and we give it to suppliers to manufacture those according to our specifications that we're giving to them. And when they get those specifications, they review it with the supplier quality engineer, and with their changes which need be, the supplier quality engineer relays those information to the design team within the organization, and they sit together to make sure that the supplier and then also the internal stakeholders, which is within the company, are all at par to make sure that the supply is meeting requirements to be able to produce materials or products that are meeting their specification. So supplier quality also monitors supply inspection and testing. So from incoming inspection, that is when material gets into the dock. There's supply quality engineering. They monitor incoming inspection, monitor manufacturing inspection. If manufacturing inspections are being done and it's a supplier related issue, the supply quality engineer takes these issues up and then discusses with their suppliers. And supply quality engineer also indulges in audits, supplier audits. There are periodic supplier audits that are being conducted depending on the risk of those suppliers that you are working with. There can be a higher risk supplier which you want to monitor and then I would say audit them yearly. And also there are also training and continuous improvement that are being done depending on the issues that are coming up, non-conformities that suppliers are finding difficult to meet specification. Some suppliers can be put on continuous improvement trainings, which they will be able to come up to speed to be able to give the company a good product, which is meeting specification. And then also, there's also a supplier corrective action, which is CAPA. So from supplier perspective, we have supplier corrective action. From design perspective, also we have design quality. We can create a CAPA over there. Manufacturing also, there can be a CAPA. So this, for example, this one is also a role that plays in all design, manufacturing, supplier quality, and compliance quality. These are some of the roles which all these engineers play. So compliance quality, in simple terms, compliance quality engineers specialize in developing systems and strategies that will help products to adhere to the company's safety and quality standards. So the quality engineer in this area makes sure you focus on the good manufacturing practices, good documentation practices. And there's a statement which I want to make over here, which I put in quotation, that if it's not documented, it's not done or it's not complete. So the compliance quality engineer makes sure that everything that is being done is being documented. And we are following good manufacturing practices, good laboratory practices, good documentation practices. And then also making sure that everything is being archived for audit records, and then also for design records. So their responsibilities are also not limited to whatever I've put over here. I put 3 bullet points over here. They coordinate with department and staff to gather and analyze data, develop test procedures and guidelines. They analyze existing compliance procedures to identify areas that need improvement. So continuous improvement is for all these aspects of, quality engineers. So compliance quality engineer also indulge in continuous improvement, design quality also same, manufacturing quality same, supplier quality same. And then also lastly, they prepare and submit compliance report and analysis, all while implementing the company policy and regulations. So that is compliance quality engineering. So far, we've understood from when I studied about design quality engineering, manufacturing quality or production quality, depending on the company, supplier quality engineering, and then also compliance quality engineering. These are, I'll say, the basic 4. Depending on the company that you work with, they can, also have different titles for different quality engineering roles that may come up for those companies. So it's not only limited to these 4 which I've discussed, but every company can bring up a different title for their roles, which quality engineers are playing in their organization, which is also understandable. So quality standards in medical device. I want to talk about ISO 9000, which is quality management system requirements, ISO 1345, which is quality management system for medical devices. And then I'll discuss also about the 21 CFR 820. This is quality system regulations, good manufacturing practices. So I've put the ISO 9001 and ISO 1345 together because they sandwich themselves. There are regulations which are within the requirements and are still within the medical device. So I put them together and I'm going to discuss them as one. So ISO 9000, ISO 1345, I'm going to discuss them as one. And then 21 CFR 820, which is the Code of Federal Regulations, Quality System Regulations, Good Manufacturing Practices. I would also discuss that one. So everything is from the medical device perspective. So overview of the ISO 9000 and ISO 1345 standards. These standards consist of 5 separate areas, which is leadership, planning, support, operations, performance, evaluation. Under each of these areas, the standards set out specific requirements. So ISO 9000, ISO 1345, they set out specific requirements for these 5 separate areas. If you look at this PDC, which is PDCA, which is plan, do, check, and act cycle, you can see this one in the ISO 9000 standard. This is what you can see. And this talks about the 5 areas which I've been discussing, that, leadership, planning, performance, improvement, support, operations. All these, this one is within the ISO 9000. And this is summary for how the QMS, which is quality management system, is being run. So you plan, you do, you check, you act on it again. So it's a cycle that goes. So the first area, which is leadership, talks about management responsibility. So if you are familiar with the ISO 9001, if you're not familiar, and you need to review ISO 9001, I think you can also find it on the websites. Sometimes it's a purchased document that you have to buy. Other times too, there are some of the portions which are being circulated on the internet, which you can find, and ISO 1345 too. So the leadership, which includes management responsibilities, talk about general requirements, which is the company shall be committed to quality. Customer requirements, the company shall understand that the customer expectations and requirements are being met. Legal requirement for each product or project or service, the company or the organization shall determine which legal requirement applies depending on the product that you are making. There are certain legal requirements which are required for the company to meet. Company policy, there's supposed to be a company quality policy for the whole organization. They shall have a company policy. Organizational roles, responsibilities, and authorities. The company members shall be assigned and communicated and understood. You shall be assigned to your role. You shall be assigned to your responsibility. And these responsibilities are being communicated to you. That is why when someone is being hired to a company, they give you job description, responsibilities. So you have to understand your responsibilities and you execute it as it's required. Management review. The company, the top management shall hold a management review at least once a year to make sure that the company is still adhering to quality systems and delivering quality products. And that is what is being needed. The second area is planning, which is include risk management. So the company shall have a system in place to ensure work is done in an organized way. That is planning. So design qualities will come here, where quality plans are being drawn for projects, and then input, output, verification, validation, all these things are, the timeline is being put together. Risk and opportunities, the company shall determine the risk and opportunities to the QMS that needs to be addressed. Are there risks to your quality management system? What are the opportunities? This brings to an opportunity for improvement. Quality objective. Under the quality policy, the company derives its quality objectives sometimes annually, sometimes biannually, depending on the organizational structure and the organization, I'll say, the way which the organization is being run. They have quality objectives which they want to meet yearly. And within management review, it's being discussed, and we're able to meet these quality objectives. Planning of change. The company shall properly plan towards change needed in the organization. There are some organizations which go through metamorphosis, they go through transformation. Sometimes a company is being bought by another company. How would they plan for these changes when they come in play, and still adhering to quality and meeting ISO 9000 or ISO 13485 standards to still be under the medical device industry? The third one is support, including resource management. So generally, support talks about human resources, where we need personnel to help with the work. We need personnel to help with the work. We need a place also to work, which is the infrastructure and the working environment. We need staff that are there, but we need a suitable place for staff to be able to work in. So within medical device industry, we can have a clean room, which is a place, which is a working environment, place which is good for people to work. There's an R&D area which research and development is being conducted. There's a sterilization area which sterilization goes on. So there are so many things that come in place within work environment. The infrastructure, as I made mention of, the workspace, the facility equipment that the staff need. You need a laptop, you need softwares to be able to, you need a research area to be able to, as it were, do your root cause investigation, tests. All these things come in play within the support, which is resource management. And even under resource management, we also have training, awareness being raised, meaning there's training that has been done periodically within the organization. The fifth area is about performance evaluation, including measurement, analysis, and improvement. So there's always continuous improvement, measuring and monitoring, where we have internal inspections. It's part of monitoring, where we have management review. It's part of measurement and monitoring. Are we meeting our quality objectives? Control of non-conformities, where we have non-conformance reports. We review non-conformance reports and then find a way where we can reduce non-conformities. This is a way where the company can measure and monitor. Analysis of data for improvement. So continuous improvement processes are also being done through CAPA, through supplier corrective actions, through NCMR, which are non-conformances, through root cause analysis. All these ways are tools that the quality engineer would use and be adhering to ISO 13485 and ISO 9000 to be able to be compliant in the medical device industry. So that is the overall, basically, about the ISO 13485 and also about the ISO 9000. So that was the fifth one, about measurement, analysis, and improvement. Measurement, analysis, improvement, if I could talk a little bit about it, it also touches on, suppliers. It touches on, I'll say, purchasing controls too. There are so many things that goes in place, how you are monitoring your suppliers, and measurement analysis. How are you also measuring measuring the improvement of your suppliers, the non-conformities that come from the supplier standpoint, from incoming inspection, from in process, and also from final inspection. All these things are the requirements from the ISO 13485 and ISO 9000 standpoint for medical device industry. So narrowing it down to 21 CFR 820, which is the quality system regulations by FDA. So this is FDA from United States of America. So the Code of Federal Regulations, or CFR, is a federal government publication that contains all the rules and regulations that executive department and agencies or the federal government are responsible for enforcing. So these regulations fall in one of the 50 categories. There are 50 categories known as titles, which is Title 21 that we are using. And it contains the regulations on food, drug, medical device, and it is being administered by the Food and Drugs Administration, that's the FDA. So all these CFRs are available at the US government website for our review. You can go to the website and have it for your review. But for quality system regulation, you have to go to the part 820, which we are going to discuss. So the title is further broken down into sections. Part 820 is dedicated to quality system needed for manufacturing medical device, and is further broken down to subparts. So we review this session and how it impacts the company's business, any company's business. This part 820 talks about the good manufacturing practices needed to manufacture safe medical devices. And this 21 CFR 820 aligns with the ISO 13485 standard, which we have discussed previously, which is an international standard specifically for medical devices. So 21 CFR part 820 is for the United States, but ISO 13485 is an international standard for the whole world. Just to make sure I'm bringing clarity over here. So these are the subparts, and I'm going to run through them for us to understand from the FDA, US FDA perspective. Subpart A, that is the general provisions, is just giving an overview. Subpart B, quality system requirements. Subpart C, design controls. D, document control. E, purchasing controls. F, ID and traceability. G, production and process control. H, acceptance activity. I, non-conformity product. J, corrective action, that is CAPA and preventive action. K, labeling and packaging. L, handling, storage, distribution, and installation. M, records and servicing. The last one, O, which is statistic techniques. So overview of the subpart of the 21 CFR. Generally, as I said, you can find this on the US FDA website. But general provisions is just the subpart A, and subpart B discuss about the quality system requirements, define general framework to manufacturing. So making sure that your organization is equipped to manufacture medical device gives FDA the authority to enforce these regulations, define requirements for quality policy, quality organization, the management representative, management review, audit, and personnel. So quality system requirement. There's supposed to be a quality policy, quality objective, quality organization, management representative who represents the overall company if it comes to quality. And then also there's supposed to be a management review, there's supposed to be audits, and then also there are personnel, which are the people who are available to work or to be on the manufacturing floor for us to provide or to produce good or quality medical devices. Subpart C discuss about design controls. So design control, that is where design quality comes in from this angle. Have you seen it? So design quality will come in here where design it defines design control, planning, inputs, output, review, verification, and validation, transfer, changes, and design history files. That is the role of design quality engineering, as I discussed earlier on. Subpart D, document control. That's define document control, approval, distribution, and document change. I will say this one can fall under design quality, or it can also fall under compliance quality. So E, purchasing controls. Purchasing controls define evaluation of suppliers, contractors, consultants, and purchasing data. So this one also I'll say falls under supplier quality engineering, because supplier quality engineering makes sure that we evaluate suppliers, contractors, consultants, and also purchasing data that are incoming inspections, are they being done, and then also review the non-conformances from incoming inspection. So that is, you can see supplier quality role right there. F, identification and traceability. This role define procedure for identification at all stages of manufacturing. It can fall for the design quality, it can fall for manufacturing, supplier, or compliance. Because if you look at it very carefully, identification at all stages of manufacturing quality are supposed to do traceability too. Design quality does it, supplier quality does, compliance quality also makes sure that these things are being done. Production and process control define manufacturing requirements. That is including infrastructure, inspection, test calibration, process validation, and change procedures. That is, I'll place this under manufacturing quality engineering. So that is the role of manufacturing quality engineering over here, being the subpart G. H, acceptance activity, non-conformities, state requirements to accept materials or manufactured items, and how to handle any non-conformances in those activities. So this subpart H, I would say it can be in design, manufacturing, or supplier quality, because there are non-conformances that are being seen within the design phase, manufacturing phase, supplier phase, within incoming inspection also phases. So that's subpart H of the CFR E20. So J, corrective and preventive action, which is shortened to be CAPA. CAPA. So CAPA tells us how to analyze, processes, results, audits, complaints, services, requests, and take appropriate action. It also requires verification of effectiveness of those actions. So CAPA goes through root cause investigation. First of all, I would say CAPA, you start with identification of a part of the issue or the failure or of the non-conformance. And from there, you do a root cause investigation. After the root cause investigation is being done, within the root cause investigation, there's trend analysis that are being conducted. You can do a trend analysis for a whole year or for 6 months, depending on the requirements or the state with which you want a CAPA to be. A CAPA can be open for a year, can be open for a few months, few days, depending on what you seek to achieve at the end of the day. So after root cause investigation, that the correction is being done. Correction is being done. After correction is being done, we do a corrective action. So correction is just making sure that the product will now meet specification. The corrective action is the process to which all other products will also meet specification. So there will be a process that is being put in place to make sure that henceforth, this is the process that we are going to follow to make sure that there wouldn't be any non-conformance reoccurring again. And that corrective action that is being initiated has to go through a period where we see it being verified for effectiveness. So after it being verified for effectiveness, and then we can check the box and say that after verification of effectiveness, it is meeting our requirements. Hence, the corrective action has now been effective. The CAPA is now effective. So we can henceforth go through this process, use this procedure to, as it were, meet our requirement. For example, if a product coming in from a supplier has been going through a series of non-conformities every time, a CAPA can be created such that from a supplier perspective, we can do a root cause investigation to be able to make sure we want to eliminate that root cause. And if we eliminate the root cause, there's a time frame where we put in place that, are we going to tighten the inspection that will check for these non-conformities, these failure modes, and these failure modes, after we check for them and they are effective, then it becomes a standard operating procedure which the organization will be using at their incoming inspection. That's an example which I want to show you over here. Subpart K, which is labeling and packaging controls, define requirements for any written or displayed information written on or accompanying a device. This also defines packaging requirement to protect the device. So this is where IFUs, that is instruction for use, are being taken care of over here. These are where labels on the products are being taken care of also over here. This is where also we make sure that depending on which geographical area which you want to sell your products, there's supposed to be some markings that are supposed to be on. When you get into regulatory affairs, regulatory in medical device, I'll touch on that too. You want to make sure it has, if it's going to the Europe, it has CE markings on them. When it's within the US, and then it has REACH, RoHS standards that are being shown on them that these are meeting the international requirement or the domestic requirements. And these are being displayed on the labels and also on the package. So the label and packaging control define these requirements for the medical device. Subpart L, that is handling, storage, and distribution and installation, defines where we must have procedure for safe and effective distribution of our devices. Sometimes a product can be from A to station B. The time for it to take from station A to station B, by the time we get to station B, the product or the device will be defective. It will not meet its customer expectations. And if you have procedures in place for handling, storage, distribution, and installation, these things will be kept. It will help, alleviate these issues that come within shipping and handling of our medical device, and must have records for where they are sold and shipped in case of recall. So where there are recalls, and that is where products are being called back to the company. They are being brought back to the manufacturing floor. So there's the need for traceability. And this handling, storage, distribution, installation helps us to be able to, as it were, know where we've sold the products to. And if there is a need for changes that cannot be done over, it's not a software change that can be done over the air. It's a device that has to be recorded, and then we have to edit and modify the product. They will know which places to go to get all those things back for internal engineers to work on. Subpart M, records, which is very key within medical device. Records are very key because there's the need for you to keep records for 7 to 10 years of your device. We have device master record, we have device history record, we have quality system record, we have complaint records. So all these records are auditable records, where when FDA visits the company, they want to see all these records. And every company, if you are registered medical device quality company, you will have to adhere to these things. Most important part of us, because it is the proof that we are following requirements. So that is why it's an auditable record. They audit it, the regulatory body also audit it. If FDA comes in, they also want to see these records, because this contains every information of the device when you started conceptualization all the way through to commercialization and through surveillance as it has gone outside from the facility, as it has been sold to people outside. So it's very key that each company keep their records. And records are being stored electronically, they are being stored manually, depending on what the company has. Subpart N, servicing, defines procedure and how to evaluate reports and escalate reports to a complaint. So servicing can be internal or external. Sometimes we have field personnel that go to install devices, and after that, they will do servicing for them. There's a contract for servicing, or devices can come in-house and services are being done by the company that produced that device. Subpart O, the last one but not least, which is statistical techniques, tells us how to identify valid techniques for defining acceptance of process capability, product acceptance, and rationale for sampling plan. So statistical techniques helps very well in terms of from incoming inspection perspective for manufacturing. Also, for example, a product is being shipped from a material is being shipped from supplier from a supplier, and it came to your dock, and we have thousands of these materials. How are you going to inspect them? Are you going to inspect them one by one all the way through to the 100, or you are going to use a sampling plan? So the sampling plan that you are going to use, that is a statistical technique that you can employ over there. And process capability also comes in play when you are validating a line. That's an example. Process capability comes in place also in that regard, where you want to make sure that the right thing is always done right, over and over, repetitively. You want to make sure it's done right, and you define how the product is being accepted. So that statistical techniques discuss about tolerance. So upper spec limit, lower spec limit, these things are being discussed under statistical techniques. I believe this one has been discussed within the previous weeks that you had. So bringing it down, there are some other standards also, which I wouldn't go much deep into them, which also plays role within the medical device industry, which is ISO 14971, application of risk management to medical devices. This is also called up by the QMS and then also the QSR. You have to define your risks. How are you managing your risks? And then also there's IEC 62304, which is medical device software, the software life cycle processes. So a software which is defined as a medical device has to also adhere to this, I would say, standard. So there's the usability engineering application, which is IEC 62366. And then also there's machinery derivative implied standard, such as the ISO 12100 safety machinery. There's also electrical safety requirements, which is IEC 60110. There's also REACH and in RoHS compliances that are also part of the standards that are needed. So depending on the, I would say, the medical device that the organization is being produced, is under production, and within that organization, they will have to adhere to these standards, these quality standards, because depending on your medical device, when you get into the regulations, regulatory within the medical device, I'll talk about medical devices. We have class 1, class 2, class 3 medical devices. And depending on these medical devices, you know which standard to be compliant to and to adhere to, such that we are always producing quality products for our customers, meeting customer requirements every time. Last but not least, there are other standards that are employed and adhered to depend on the type of medical device and projects, as I made mention. And then also, depend on your geographical location where you find yourself, there are certain standards that you are supposed to adhere to. For example, how the MDSAP, which is Medical Device Single Audit Program. If you are complying with MDSAP, there are certain countries that come together that form the MDSAP, about 5 countries. So if you adhere to MDSAP regulations, meaning you can sell your product to these countries, and it helps minimize audits from individual countries. And then also we have the MDD, which is European Council Directive Concerning Medical Device. If you want to, your product not just to be sold in the US, but also to be sold in the Europe, you have to be compliant with MDD, which is Medical Device Directives. And then also the EU MDR, to replace the MDD very soon, which is European Union Medical Device Regulations. That's European Union Medical Device Regulation. That's EU MDR. It is going to replace the MDD very soon. And then also the last but not least, which I'll jump on, is the Japanese quality management system. So if you want to also sell your product or your medical product to the Japanese, you will have to also be adherent to the Japanese quality management system. And they also, I think they also come and audit you, or if you are being audited by a regulatory body, they can take care of, the Japanese management system. But you want to make sure that you are always adherent to these standards. And if it's not documented, it is not done. Within quality engineering, everything boils down to documentation. We want to make sure that what is being done is being documented. And that helps us to save lives from the medical device industry, because from a medical device perspective, everything that we make help improve the life of individuals, help improve life of people. So if you are not adhering to these standards, and there are a lot of non-conformance, there are a lot of flaws in here and there, it's our final destination of our product, which is the customer, will face the consequence, which we wouldn't want it to be. So as engineers, we are always advised and admonished that we want to make sure that we are meeting standards, especially we are meeting quality standards, no shortcuts, no microwaving. You want to make sure that you are meeting standards, either ISO 9000, ISO 13485. You are going through root cause investigation. You are making sure that everything is done from design quality, supplier quality, manufacturing quality, and also compliance quality. Everything is done correctly and everything is being documented, because whatever you do and you produce as a product, it will be reviewed through audits from the FDA, from accredited regulatory bodies, to make sure that we are all compliant and will help us save the lives of people. So thank you very much for listening to this presentation from myself about quality engineering in the medical device industry. I hope you've gained understanding, and you'll be able to use this in your career as you move on as an engineer, as a quality engineer. You can find yourself in medical device field, you can find yourself in any other field, but so far as you're an engineer, you want to make sure that you are always producing something which is of a higher quality to the populace. So thank you very much. And then I'll see you in the next one next week for regulatory in the medical device industry. Thank you.